Picture a doctor earning $300,000 a year, a nice house, 2 new cars in the driveway, private school for the kids. By every outward measure, this person has made it. And yet, if their paycheck stopped tomorrow, they would have less than 1 month before serious financial trouble began. This is not a rare story. This is one of the best-kept secrets in personal finance. High earners, who look completely successful on paper and are, in reality, one missed paycheck away from disaster. It has a name. It is called the high-income poverty trap, and it is quietly destroying the financial future of some of the highest-paid people in the world. My name is Thomas, and this channel is about finance, automation, and building wealth that actually lasts. If you are new here, welcome. Hit that like button right now and subscribe so you never miss a video. Today, we are breaking down exactly how high earners fall into this trap, why it happens to smart, hardworking people, and what it actually takes to escape it for good. Let's get into it. Let us start by defining the trap clearly, because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. What the high-income poverty trap actually is. The high-income poverty trap describes a very specific and very common situation. A person earns a high income, often well into 6 figures, and yet has little to no real net worth. Their lifestyle consumes nearly everything they make. Their savings are minimal, their investments are thin or non-existent. And despite years, sometimes decades of strong earnings, they are functionally living paycheck to paycheck, just at a much higher dollar amount than the average person. This is not a story about people who are bad with money in an obvious way. These are doctors, lawyers, engineers, executives, and successful business owners. People who are disciplined, intelligent, and hardworking in every other area of life. And that is exactly what makes this trap so dangerous. It does not look like financial failure from the outside. It looks like success. The house looks impressive, the cars look impressive, the vacations look impressive. But underneath that surface, there is often no real financial foundation at all. The first cause is lifestyle inflation that scales perfectly with income. This is the core mechanical driver of the trap, and it is almost universal among high earners who fall into it. As income rises, spending rises right alongside it, dollar for dollar, sometimes faster. The starter apartment becomes a bigger house. The reliable car becomes a luxury vehicle. The casual dinners become fine dining. The modest vacations become first-class international trips. None of these choices feel reckless in the moment. Each one feels like a reasonable reward for years of hard work and education. But here is the mathematical problem. If your spending grows at the same rate as your income, your savings rate never improves, no matter how much you earn. A person making $60,000 a year who saves 10%, and a person making $300,000 a year who also saves 10%, are on dramatically different paths, yes. But a person making $300,000 who saves 0% because their lifestyle absorbed every single raise is, in terms of wealth building, no better off than someone earning far less. Income without a widening gap between earnings and spending does not build wealth. It only builds a more expensive version of living paycheck to paycheck. The second cause is the assumption that high income equals automatic security. Many high earners genuinely believe that their income level protects them from financial risk. The thinking goes something like this: I make enough money that I do not need to worry about budgeting, emergency funds, or aggressive saving the way other people do. My income is my safety net. This belief feels logical, but it is one of the most dangerous assumptions in personal finance. Income is not a safety net. Income is a flow. Net worth is a reservoir. A flow can stop instantly, through a layoff, an illness, an injury, a market downturn affecting a business, or simply a career change that takes time to stabilize. A reservoir, on the other hand, is what sustains you when the flow stops. High earners who never build a real reservoir of savings and investments are entirely dependent on the flow continuing uninterrupted. And when it does not, and at some point in almost every career it does not, the financial cushion they assumed they had was never actually there. The third cause is the visible debt that high earners accumulate to maintain appearances. Many people trapped in high-income poverty are not just spending their income, they are spending future income they have not earned yet through debt. Large mortgages stretched to the very top of what a lender will approve. Car payments on vehicles financed over 6 or 7 years. Credit card balances that get paid down and then quietly climb back up. Even student loan debt from advanced degrees that, despite enabling a high income, continues to consume a significant portion of monthly cash flow for years or decades. The fourth cause is the absence of any real financial education, regardless of professional education. This is one of the most overlooked aspects of the trap, and it explains why so many highly educated, highly intelligent people fall into it. Professional training in medicine, law, engineering, or business does not include training in personal finance. A surgeon can spend over a decade in rigorous medical education and emerge having never once been taught how compound interest works, how to evaluate an investment account, or how to build a financial plan. This gap matters enormously, because financial literacy is not correlated with general intelligence or professional success. It is its own distinct skill set. And like any skill, it has to be learned deliberately. High earners often assume that because they are highly capable in their profession, they are equally capable with money. That assumption is frequently false, and the financial industry, filled with products, fees, and advice that are not always aligned with the client's best interest, can make the gap even more costly when left unaddressed. The fifth cause is social comparison among similarly high-earning peers. Human beings calibrate their sense of normal based on the people around them. For a high earner, the people around them are often other high earners, colleagues, friends from similar professional circles, neighbors in similarly priced homes. And in that environment, a lifestyle that would look excessive to the broader population looks completely ordinary. Everyone around you is driving a similar car, living in a similar house, taking similar vacations, so none of it feels like overspending. It feels like simply keeping pace with your peer group. This is an exceptionally powerful and largely invisible force because it does not feel like social pressure from the inside. It feels like personal preference. But the reality is that spending patterns are heavily shaped by reference groups, and high-income reference groups normalize high-cost lifestyles that leave very little room for actual wealth accumulation, regardless of how much income is coming in. How to actually escape the high-income poverty trap. Understanding the causes is only useful if it leads to action. So let us talk about what escaping this trap actually requires. The first move is to calculate your real savings rate. Not your income, your savings rate. The percentage of your income that is actually being invested or saved, not spent. This number, more than your salary, more than your job title, more than the size of your house, is the true measure of your financial trajectory. If that number is low or close to zero, that is the single most important thing to address, regardless of how much you earn. The second move is to automate your investing before lifestyle has a chance to claim the money. Every time your income increases, redirect a meaningful percentage of that increase directly into investment accounts before it ever touches your spending account. This single habit, automating the gap before you can spend it, is the most reliable mechanism for escaping the trap, because it removes the decision from a moment of temptation and turns it into a structural default. The third move is to separate true financial security from the appearance of financial security. A bigger house, a nicer car, and an impressive vacation photo are not evidence of financial health. A growing investment portfolio, a fully funded emergency fund, and a widening gap between income and expenses are the real evidence. Re-anchoring your definition of success around those numbers, rather than around visible lifestyle markers, is often the psychological shift that makes everything else possible. The fourth move is to seek out financial education with the same seriousness applied to professional education. Reading foundational personal finance books, understanding how investment accounts and tax structures work, and in some cases working with a fee-only financial advisor who has no incentive to sell unnecessary products, can close the education gap that professional training never addressed. High income is an extraordinary advantage. It gives a person more raw material to build wealth with than the vast majority of people will ever have access to. But raw material alone does not build anything. It has to be directed, structured, and protected from the forces: lifestyle inflation, false security, hidden debt, missing education, and social comparison that quietly consume it. Escaping the high-income poverty trap is not about earning more. It is about finally putting the income that already exists to work. So here is the truth about the high-income poverty trap. It is not about how much you earn. It is about what happens to that income once it lands in your account. Lifestyle inflation that scales with every raise. The false belief that income alone is security. Debt taken on to maintain appearances. A complete gap in financial education despite years of professional training. And the quiet, constant pressure of comparing yourself to other high earners who are caught in the exact same trap. The escape is not complicated, even if it requires real discipline. Know your savings rate. Automate your investing. Redefine what financial success actually looks like. And take your financial education as seriously as you took your career. Being rich on paper means nothing if it disappears the moment the paycheck stops. Real wealth is what remains when the income does not. If this video gave you something worth thinking about, please hit that like button. It truly helps this channel grow. And if you are not subscribed yet, click that button right now so you never miss what is coming next. See you in the next one.